Hey, everybody, I hope you're set up to have a great week. I'm excited about this week and what's lying ahead of us. Last week, we talked a little bit about the second part of the sales process, the qualifying process, and how important it is to qualify your merchants and prospects and those people that you're doing business with. And then next week, I'm going to dive into converting merchants and how important it is to really deal with those objections, hopefully up front before they even become an objection, and then convert those merchants over into your portfolio. And then we'll finish up in a couple of weeks on the keeping and repeating stage of the fundamental sales process. So it's always good to go back to the basics. If you find yourself not producing at the level you want, go back to the basics, re-hone those basics, and work on the basics, the blocking and tackling of business, and then you can expand once again and start to create some things in your business, in your life. That always helps me if I find that I'm getting off track or I'm getting unfocused. I go back to those fundamentals and get back on track with those fundamentals. So I also wanted to talk a little bit about this week about the word ownership, right? And I've been talking to a lot of people recently. The economy's turning around, and speaking to people about what their plans are and how they're going to leverage what I believe is going to be a real uptick here over the next year or two in the economy. And I've find that a lot of people really don't or aren't willing to take true ownership of their results in their life. And a lot of times they're leaving it to extrinsic things outside of themselves, and really are depending on these things outside of themselves to create the life that they really want to create. So I just think it's critical for you to revisit that word ownership. And when you have ownership around your body being balanced in your business, your body, mind, and spirit, whatever you want to call it, you're really stepping into a place of full consciousness and full responsibility, saying, regardless of what's happening around me, outside of me, I have the capacity to be successful and create change and create what I want to create in these areas of my life. So the first step on ownership certainly is you want some clarity, right? And realizing that I am responsible for what I put in my mind, what I put in my body, what I bring into my life, what I put in my spirit, what I invest in my relationships with those significant people in my life, and what I invest in my business, right? It's really you that is determining all these factors. So you have some clarity around that. It always helps me to get some accountability, right? So I have some clarity and I have accountability, either personal accountability or an accountability partner that I have to report to. Recent studies show that when you're looking to achieve something, a goal or a target, when you have somebody to report that accountability to, you're twice as likely to achieve that result. So it's always good to have an accountability partner. So take a look at ownership, take a look at the results, where you're at right now across your body being balanced in business, and see what areas that you are really relegating to someone else the responsibility of what your results and what you're achieving are. And take a look at that word again and say, look, I am the owner of my experience. I'm the owner of the results that I'm creating in my life. If I'm not getting the results that I want, then it's really up to you to change it. If you continue to rely on external events, external forces, governments or stimulus or certain economic indicators or other people, they will always eventually let you down. So you really need to focus on what you can control in this environment and what you need to create over these next 6, 12, or 18 months. So look at that word ownership. And the other thing that can really affect your life and your results is certainly your environment, right? So you want to look at setting up the right environment for you that creates a state of flow for you, that creates an environment where you can be successful, where you can thrive. And that's really up to you as well. So if you've got the news running 24/7 and the news upsets you, turn the news off, right? If you're taking in data or social media that gets you off track, then you need to halt that activity, right? Take ownership for your environment and the things that you allow into your life. And there's a psychological term called strategic ignorance. And that means that there are certain things that I really don't care about and I'm happy to be ignorant about, because I know when I get invested in those things emotionally or mentally that they upset my production, the results, my mental state, whatever it is, and I choose to strategically be ignorant in those areas. I just don't want the information and I don't need the information. I know what I'm trying to create, and I know the clarity that I have around the results that I'm trying to get. So think about that word ownership across your body, your nutrition, your spiritual state, your spiritual being, your relationships, your balance, and your business, and really sit down and take ownership over those areas of your life and take ownership around your environment as well. So we'll see you next week on the webinar. Looking forward to spending some time with you. We'll talk about converting and closing and bringing more merchants into your portfolio. I hope you have a great week.